I got a few hours of sleep here in the parking lot of the Colt Inn Casino in Battle Mountain, Nevada. It apparently got quite cold outside. I had to get out the quilt from the back end and cover up. I'll probably take several naps to catch up on all my sleep as I proceed the last 413 miles from here to Las Vegas. So, it's time. Here we go. All right. I should probably, put the camera down and actually focus on the road, maybe? Yeah. I don't know. This is kind of fun. It's a good workout for my right arm.
Previously on A Body in Progress.
Including, and I am just pathetic, east of Bend.
Day 2.
It does get better. A little. There was a lot of this on September 12th, day 2 of my Vegas adventure as I traveled from Battle Mountain, where I spent the night, to Las Vegas. From Battle Mountain to Las Vegas, I did see some trivial points of interest that I found intriguing. They have absolutely nothing to do with health and fitness, but hey, it's my road trip and it's my video about my road trip. Apparently, I just drove across part of the Pony Express route, which ran through here from 1860 to 1861. I'd like to claim that I just knew that, but I think somehow something gave me that information. Day 2 is off to a pretty good start. I headed south from Battle Mountain, Nevada just about an hour ago. The temperature is warming up again after a very cold night, so you better believe this shirt's coming off again. I got to enjoy this freedom while I don't look stupid. I just passed through the adorable little town of Austin, Nevada. I don't think I've ever been through there, but it is so cute. It is so quaint. I love architecture like that. I love old towns like that. New cities just don't hold any appeal to me, really. Not visually, not cinematically. Austin very much is the kind of place I could live, so long as there was a Wendy's and a Fred Meyer somewhere around the corner. Coming up out of the valley and the winding mountain road that led out of Austin, it was very refreshing to see a 70-mile-an-hour sign. It was the open road and it was time to hit it. I had lunch at the town of Tonopah, and I mention this only because when you go in the restaurant at the Tonopah Casino, the cigarette smell is everywhere. Everywhere. I passed through a little town called Goldfield, which I promptly would have forgotten about, except for this hilarious combination of signs right here. Turn left for both the cemetery and the dump, which tells you what Goldfield thinks of its old people. I also had no idea that the highway I was on actually went right around Area 51. If I had just waited a few days, I could have joined in that historic storming of Area 51 that everyone was planning. And finally, there it was, Las Vegas. I had plans in my head of getting road signs and my grand entrance into the city, but when you are both the driver and your own cameraman, there's only so much you can do. Using my cell phone in my lap, I did get this shot.
Woohoo! I am here in Las Vegas. The highway is 5 lanes wide. The traffic is non-stop. My nerves are tense. Basically, I hate big city driving, and I'm very much looking forward to getting to my hotel room where I can just crash on a bed and not into other cars.
My hotel of choice, my home base during my stay in Las Vegas, meaning the only hotel that had reasonable prices at the time that I bought my reservation, was the Palace Station. I checked in at the front desk, then I parked my car in the parking garage. I managed to get everything I needed to bring up to my room in one trip and rejoiced at a nice, soft bed. Which brings us to day 3 of my Vegas adventure, which was day 1 of the Mr. Olympia Fitness Expo. When you buy your tickets to the Mr. Olympia, when you go online and buy your tickets, there's a clear warning on the website, no video cameras. Now, I knew that was something of a joke because everybody's got a video camera in their cell phones these days. And I know from Instagram and Twitter and YouTube, every September, hundreds of different accounts are all uploading their videos. I was at the expo and, I saw so-and-so and they've got video of it. So everybody's shooting video. But my home video camera is this big thing. And 20 to 25 years ago, nobody would have batted an eye because if you were shooting home video, if you were going on a family vacation, your camera was this big thing. It was this brick that sat on your shoulder and you got a workout just trying to videotape your kids going down a water slide at a Disney resort. But now that everybody's got their cameras in these tiny little phones, my home video camera looks like a news camera. Everywhere I go, people go, "Oh, are you with the news?" If I want to feel official and impressive, I just whip out my video camera and walk around with it. But the downside to that is if I go somewhere where the press are not allowed or the press have to pay an extra fee, I have experienced this. The people in charge assume that I am official and they don't want my camera coming in. With my hotel being 2 miles away from the expo and I was going to walk that, I didn't want to walk all the way there, have somebody at the front door say, "You can't bring that in." Even if I tried to explain it to them, I just envisioned the worst. I pictured for sure that they would say, "No, sorry, you can't bring that in without a press pass." So I left the clunker back at the hotel room. I did bring my cell phone camera. It doesn't get very good video, but I do have something.
Day 3 of my trip is day 1 of the expo, and I am walking there now. I've just left where is it? There it is, my hotel. And it's a 2.1 mile walk to the convention center. Had an online friend say, and he's been here before, and he said, don't walk. But I like to walk. And I see sidewalks all the way down there, so I'm walking. I'm walking here. Sorry. I always wanted to use that line. I just don't want to get hit by a taxi to do it. Anyway, yeah. Headed there now, and we'll see how this goes.
I did not get the early entry pass. I just got the regular one for both days, and apparently so did hundreds of other people because the line was quite long. Now, to their credit, apparently the Mr. Olympia people have done this for many, many years because that line moved fairly efficiently. And I got in, got my ticket, got into the lobby here, and that lobby is decked out. I mean, that is quite the grand entrance. After pausing for a photo of my very first time ever going into the Mr. Olympia Fitness Expo, I actually went in. The Las Vegas Convention Center is huge, and it was full of vendors selling their protein powders and their latest workout gear and whatever it was they wanted to peddle. People were standing in long lines for their free sample of this and their free plastic bag for carrying around the swag that they got, just everywhere you turned. Plus, even longer lines for the opportunity to actually shake hands with some of their fitness idols. Of course, given the nature of the event, everywhere I turned, there was a lot of muscle. And it wasn't just the bodybuilders and fitness models behind the counters trying to prove to you that their latest protein mix will turn you into an awesome muscle Hulk. It was the average people just walking around. This is the height of many weightlifters' year going to this thing. And of course, if you've built up a fantastic physique like that, you're going to wear a tank top around this thing. Probably deep down subconsciously hoping to get as much attention as any of the guys behind the counter. In the spirit of the event, I did wear my own tank top, a rather humorous tongue-in-cheek one, because I had no misconception that I was actually going to impress anyone myself. In one part of the convention hall, there was a powerlifting competition going on. At the far end, there was some kind of preliminary for the Mr. Olympia bodybuilding competition, I think. There were little events going on around to the sides. It wasn't just booths, but I didn't really stop long to look at anything. I was just kind of wandering, almost lost, not really sure what I was supposed to do, because, again, the people I was expecting to meet, who would have been far more experienced at this, were not there. I did know from paying attention to Instagram for the past couple of years, every September, that the Mr. Olympia was a place where people went to get photos with their fitness heroes. So I kept an eye out. I don't have a whole lot of famous fitness heroes. I do know that for weeks leading up to it, some of the people that I follow on Instagram were saying, "Hey, I'm going to the Mr. Olympia, hope to see you all there." What I did not think to do on day one was plan ahead and make a list of those people, so I wasn't quite sure who to even look for. So I was kind of excited when I happened to stumble across my very first one. I saw this person headed actually towards the men's room, and I looked closely at his profile and I recognized the face, so I waited until he came out of the men's room. He was headed back to the booth that he was manning at the time. A booth, by the way, which had a line of people probably an hour long just to shake his hand and talk to him for a couple minutes and get a selfie with him. I happened to stop him before he got back there and said, "Hey, are you Tavi Castro?" And he said, "Yes." I said, "Ah." And I asked him if I could take a photo. He said yes. And there it is, my very first Mr. Olympia celebrity duo selfie photo. I'm sure there's a shorter term for that. We'll just call it a celebrity sighting. Later in the day, I did recognize Andre Dayu as someone I follow on Instagram. I don't know him as well as Tavi Castro, meaning I haven't followed him as long on Instagram, but I did recognize him, so I took that opportunity. Somewhere between Tavi and Andre, as I was wandering around, I passed a clothing booth. They were selling workout gear, t-shirts and tank tops, and they were also selling posing suits. And there was a gentleman modeling one. He was standing there in nothing but a posing suit. Now that takes a certain amount of bravery, but he clearly had the body to warrant that bravery. So I thought, well, here's another opportunity to get a photo. He was very inspiring to look at, but I didn't recognize him. He's not somebody I followed on Instagram at the time. I had never seen him on a workout magazine cover. Didn't know his name, but in a rare moment of bravery, I went up to him, and I do not approach strangers well. That's just not something I do, especially alone in a convention hall in Las Vegas. But I did. I went up to him and I said, "Well, you look great. Are you someone I should know?" Meaning, are you famous? Are you a celebrity? But that's how I phrased it. Are you someone I should know? And he laughed and said, "Absolutely, you should know me." He gave me his business card, and we took a photo, and so here is my third photo of the day. It's my second one, actually, Justin Baker. And I do wish I had actually framed it the other way and had a head-to-toe shot of him, because he really was in fantastic shape. Vegas Part 1 was so much about the disappointing start to this trip that I don't want to harp on it again here. I don't want to just wallow in that. But it's still a very real part of my story that for that entire first day at the expo, yes, I got a couple of pictures with faces I recognized, But I spent the whole day just kind of wandering aimlessly and feeling very alone. I did not feel excitement at being there. I did not have the electric thrill that I was looking forward to. I'd wander by the booths and I'd see that they were selling this and selling that, and I had no interest in standing for an hour in line just to shake hands with some face I recognized. Yeah, I left that day going, okay, well, that was the Fitness Expo. And I went back to my hotel and I prepared for the first night of the Mr. Olympia bodybuilding competition. That evening I got in my car and I braved the busy streets of Las Vegas to get to the Orleans Arena for the first night of the Mr. Olympia bodybuilding competition. In planning the trip and trying to find the best use of my resources, I did only buy the ticket for the first night, not both nights, so I was not there to see the new Mr. Olympia actually crowned on Saturday night. I will say right now, no big loss. But anyway, and then the pricing for the seats actually had me up in the equivalent of the nosebleed section of this particular arena. So I was not really very close. Let's go ahead to the photos. That's as good as my still camera would even zoom in from where I was seated. And I think on the computer I can zoom in a little bit more and get you kind of a better view of the guys. I mean, I could tell even from my seat that they were huge. And of course, they have big monitors on the side so that those of you who are far away can get a nice view of what's going on the stage, a much more detailed view. The Mr. Olympia, of course, is the big guys. These are the guys that I will never even hope to look like since I plan to never use steroids. I'm just not even going to get close. And I don't want to. I mean, I was told that this is an inspiring competition, that you go there and you just leave going, pumped, ready to go throw some weight around. And I would have to say that I was actually bored. This is now the fourth bodybuilding show I've been to. I've been to 3 in the state of Oregon that are, amateur or lower level. And as much as I still want to look like any of those guys, to sit for 2 or 3 hours and watch a competition, I am finding is not the most fascinating use of my time. I look forward to the day I'm on one of those stages, but I'm almost done being an audience member. And so here I was at a show that the guys are so big, I don't want to look like that. They personally don't inspire me because they're so big they almost look alien. I was there alone. Yeah, I think I even left before it was technically over. I think the most raw fun I had on that Friday was the workout I got in at the Palace Station Fitness Center, which, if you've ever gone to a fitness center at a hotel, most hotels, especially if it's a chain, if it's a chain hotel that's scattered across the nation in hundreds of locations, your fitness center is a treadmill or 2, maybe some kind of Bowflex machine, if you're lucky. But this actually had dumbbells. This is the second time in my life I've been to a hotel where the fitness center had dumbbells. So I actually got in a mild workout and had the whole room to myself. Yeah, just kind of finished up my evening that way. I went to bed really quite convinced that I had had quite enough, thank you, of the Mr. Olympia.